Welcome to the Performer Radio Show. Each week, we interview some of the most interesting people in the fashion and entertainment industries. Fashion and entertainment industries. Beautiful models, singers, comedians, dancers, fashion designers, actors, beauty queens, and many more. Right here on the Performer Radio Show.
Wow, we're back.
It has been a while, Mike.
It has been a while.
How are you doing?
Welcome back, Brittany Mahan.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're looking cute today.
Oh.
Very summery.
You know, it's the summer vibe.
Yeah, you got some nice blonde streaks in your hair, too.
I know, just like a little one right here.
Yeah, but it looks good on camera.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay. So what are you, summer's, everybody is out now? No masks? Or people that are vaccinated?
I feel like it's a whole new world.
But you had COVID.
Yes, I had it. It was the tough.
Right after you left, after you left for the winter break, you got COVID, which is one of the reasons why you were gone for a little while.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It definitely was. It took me a little bit of time to bounce back. It wasn't the best for me. I'm going to be honest. COVID hit me kind of hard.
I still have the beautiful broken tag on there. That's okay. I didn't make anyone. That's okay. That's all right. It's still
Beautiful Broken is still there.
Your brand. It's still your brand.
We're going to bring it on back this season. 2021 will be looking really good for us, so I'm excited about that. But, yeah, everyone gets life got tough. I'm going to be real. Life got really tough for me for a while.
I think a lot of people had the same similar thing going on. I would say probably a good maybe 70% of the country had a tough year.
Right.
At least 70%, maybe more.
Right. I mean, if anyone says that COVID was nice to them, I think they're lying, to be completely honest.
Yeah, I think so. The restaurants, I talked to a lot of restaurant owners, especially last night I saw a few, and I talked to a couple more today, because we have our association with Wicked Bites on Nessence, so I get to talk to a lot of restaurant owners, and they're excited to be opening up, but they're scared because they can't find enough people to work.
That's my thing. Everyone's been collecting. So usually what happens is if you can't get a job, you can always serve or bartend or something like that, because you know that the income's going to be pretty well. However, everyone's been, collecting unemployment for so long that they're comfortable with collecting unemployment versus going back to work. So I think a lot of restaurants are definitely hurting on that aspect of things.
Well, I'm going to add to that, too, because some of the people that I've talked to that used to be in the service industry, the hospitality industry, a lot of them went on to find other jobs because they had to make ends meet. And so they said, okay, I'm working at another job now. I'm not going to go back. That's one reason. And another reason was some people are scared to go back because they don't think that everyone's safe yet. And then the third reason is that they were frustrated with how the general public was treating them.
Right.
And so all those reasons, your reason and the two I just mentioned, are what's driving this lack of employment in the hospitality industry. I just think that probably as the summer goes on and people start feeling normal again, then hopefully they'll come back to work.
Right.
Okay?
And I agree, and I think they
for
definitely
everybody.
will.
And I'm not talking about just after the money runs out from the government. I'm just talking about in general how people's attitudes have been. And I talked to a head chef of a local restaurant this afternoon. He called me, and he said, yeah, the fact is that a lot of people are leaving angry because they feel like they've been shortchanged with their experience. Because when you haven't done something in a long time and you go out and do it, let's say go to the movies or whatever, go to a restaurant, and your experience isn't like it was before, you might feel like you've been shortchanged.
That makes sense.
So I think everyone needs to take a seat back, relax. Everything will get back to what we call normal eventually.
Eventually, one day at a time. I mean, we're here back. I'm seeing your lovely face. I'm starting to get into my own normal. So
all right, thank you very much for that one. All right, I think it's the other way around, but that's okay. Speaking of lovely faces, we got to bring another lovely face in here.
My one and only.
Yes.
Can I just say how much I love this guy? I love Mike. It's Mike and Mike tonight. I'm dealing with Eminem.
I want some M&Ms now. Thank you very much. That's just great. Mike, how are you doing tonight?
I'm great. I'm back, reunited.
And it feels good, so
man.
good.
Can we sing that song without a copyright violation? Maybe. Watch out. Facebook will cut us out right now.
We're done.
Watch. That's it. They're like, no, you guys, copyright violation.
Too much.
Now we own performing rights to what? Peaches and Herb, right?
Yeah, right.
That's right. I remember the name, Mike. Hey, good DJ,
that was
right
good,
here,
man.
right?
That was good.
That was good. So what have you been up to, Mike?
Oh, it's been really busy. The wedding industry really picked back up, which is awesome. I am very excited to announce that I'm going to be doing a lot of different magic shows, and I'm doing my first public DJing event coming up in July, which is going to be great. And I believe it's going to be at Kowloon's in Saugus. We'll see how that goes. So
I like
excited,
your headband, Mike. I like your headband that you're wearing.
Thank you.
He's styling. He's styling.
He's wearing it like it's a video game thing.
Well, all right. Let me tell you what happened.
He doesn't have to go.
I forgot.
Let me tell you what happened.
Why you were doing
that.
that.
We get a close up of this.
But look, you're still beautiful, though. Don't take that from you.
Yeah,
it gives you character, Mike.
I walked into a chandelier. I don't know. Yeah.
You know what, Mike? I ran into a tree one time.
Oh man.
I really did. I ran into a tree head on.
Okay, since we're sharing, I don't know if you guys are old enough to remember those little balls you would get in the gumball machines, those bouncy balls?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, I got one when I was like a little boy, maybe like 7 or 8, and I loved that thing. I was bouncing it around all over the house, and then I threw it, and it disappeared, and I go to run after it, and it was a big giant window, and I crashed right through it.
You did not.
I thought the ball had gone out into the backyard, and the window was open, so I crashed right through it. So I beat you all. There you go.
There you go. Yeah, he definitely lost when running into dumb
got
stuff.
that one.
You're talking about.
You take the trophy on running into dumb stuff.
That was a pretty big mess. That was a pretty big mess. Hey, Samantha Hearn, thank you for joining us. Brittany, she says she's happy to see you. She's happy to see you back here again. So very good. Thank you for joining us, Samantha. So Mike, that took you out for a couple weeks, right?
Yeah, it took me out for 3 weeks. I ended up having to do a week and a half of recovery just on the cut, and then I had a sore and stiff neck for a little while just because of the whiplash from hitting it so hard.
Man.
So I gave myself a run for my money on it, but thankfully no more brain damage than what I went in with. So we're in a good place there.
That's good to know. That's always good to know. By the way, we're on late tonight. We usually are on at 9 o'clock.
I know. I feel like we're like after dark hours.
But this is a good reason why we're on late, because we have this fellow here who's now from L.A. So he's on L.A. time. So it's actually what is it, like 7:30 in the evening over in L.A. So that's okay. And we wanted to get him on. So I said, okay, yeah, we'll just come on in when you're ready.
Yeah.
And I'd rather be on late than not have him at all. That's the way I feel. So he's going to be coming up late. He's a film producer, but he is originally from Boston.
What town?
What town? Well, he'll tell us later.
He'll tell us everything.
He'll tell us later.
I have so many questions for him, so he better be ready.
He better be ready.
I'm ready.
But he grew up here and he studied here, and then he went to LA, and he's done very, very well there. I would say better than very well. So we'll talk about that after the break. But we always want to encourage people that are coming up by showing them people that went through what they.
Beautiful Broken. I'm telling you right now, it stems off of it.
Well, I mean, things are a little different now than probably when he started in the entertainment industry. So he can tell us tell us what the vibe is like in LA now versus what it was when he started, because he's been there for at least a decade. I think maybe a little bit more than that.
Okay.
So I think that he probably has a lot to say about what's happening, and it's because of the digital revolution, really, and digital internet, everything else like that. I mean, you got some people now producing their own short films or feature films, and just releasing them themselves, especially since COVID started. So things are really interesting
now. TikTok now, everyone's becoming mini producers.
Little 9-second videos, sure. But that's another genre of entertainment that's taking off, and the Gen Zers and the millennials.
You know what? I want to know what he thinks about producing a 30-second video versus producing like an hour-and-a-half movie, and the difference in that.
Oh, I'm sure there's a big difference.
100%, but it is hard to find something entertaining in 90 seconds or 30 seconds.
Of course it is, but people are doing it. Now, this is basically like a commercial, right?
Right.
People have been entertaining us for 30 seconds for decades.
Right.
Not only that, but it's the fact that attention spans have gotten so short now.
Right.
That
how do you produce a movie knowing that people may or may not want to watch it?
Exactly.
Right.
Not only that, but now you have to figure out a way to, in each scene,
make it
find that
entertaining.
Mike, you bring up an interesting point, which we can talk about later, is how the movie theaters shutting down have actually, because when you go to a movie theater, you're in the theater, you're a captive audience, and so you can probably have a lot more liberties with what you do creatively. But now everything's on the screen. You can pause it. You can go to the bathroom. You can answer the phone. So how do you keep people's attention when it's streaming now versus in a theater like it used to be? That's an interesting question to ask. I think we'll save that for after.
We have so much magic in our head, and
There's
I think Magic Mike is giving me all these vibes over here.
The creativity in this room right now
is electric.
Is just out of control.
Electric, people. You definitely want to stay
Doesn't
around.
Doesn't it feel good? Everyone getting back together? I mean, okay, Zoom, fine. Skype, fine, but let's be honest. When you're in the room with somebody and you can connect with them on a very emotional level,
It's always better.
it's so much better, isn't it?
100%.
Yeah, because you get their full attention all the time when you're in the room with them, unless you get their phone and you're both looking at your phone.
Right.
Okay, technology, what can you do? All right, so on that note, we're going to have a little break with some commercials, and then we're going to come back and meet our guest, Kevin Boston.
Let's do it.
All right, we'll be right back.
They made this blackberry taste exactly like blackberry hint water.
They made this watermelon taste like hint water, too.
How'd you farmer wizards make all this fruit taste just like hint water?
Well, we triple irrigate our fruit with hint water in the world's largest biosphere, which modifies the DNA to taste exactly like hint water.
Really?
No.
What a sarcastic farmer.
Hint, water with a touch of true fruit flavor.
What to expect when you're expecting
Like here.
a teenager.
Today, I'm going to show you how to team-proof your home. First step, hide the car keys. Preferably somewhere they would never look. Challenges will come up. Be ready for them. Hi, honey.
Ready for the...
Mom, you don't use mannequins in the mannequin challenge.
You don't have to know it all to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Hi. Can I get the now bar, please?
No problem. $1.
Have a good one.
Got it.
Hi, can I get a now bar, please?
$1.
Thanks.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey.
Hey, let me get a now bar.
Sure. $1.
Appreciate you.
You got it.
How's it going? Can I get a now bar?
Hey, stop right there! Get down on the ground out of your car, right? Keep down! Come on, over your head! Get down!
Okay, we are back, and during the break, I'm just thinking a couple other things I want to ask Kevin. But let's introduce our guest for this evening, Mr. Kevin Boston. How are you, Kevin?
Round of applause, everybody. Round of applause.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Hey, no problem. So, how long have you been in Boston this week? A couple days?
A few days, 4 days.
2 days, 4 days?
Yeah.
You want to get a little closer to the mic, Kevin?
Sure.
Yeah, that's a microphone, in case you didn't know the industry terminology for it. I'm sure you've seen plenty of those in your time, right?
Yeah.
But now, you've been out in L.A. for how long now?
14 years.
14
Wow.
years.
Yeah, that's
Wow.
Okay. Let's tell them a little bit about your history and how you get started. Now, I know you went to, is it Mass College of Art?
No, I actually didn't go to college.
Oh, you didn't go to college?
Yeah.
I thought
You know
thought-
what?
Okay,
I love these stories even
I
better.
was thinking about somebody else then. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, I actually, I know you learned everything around here though. So how did you get started in the industry?
I mean, they started, center cast. Is it center casting? Center casting,
CP
right?
casting,
Yeah, CP casting.
Boston casting.
Yeah, and I was doing theater at the Cyclorama back then. I mean, it's all changed.
Oh yeah,
completely
the Boston
changed.
Center for the Performing Arts.
Yeah.
That's what it is
And
now.
that would be my after school. Like, most kids would go to do sports and whatnot. I would go to the theater and hang out there and, try to work my way in with doing extra work. Originally, I wanted to be an actor. And my first gig was The Departed. I was a background in Chinatown scene. And when that happened, I was like, whoa, like, this could be real. Like, this could be possible. And this is when Boston movies started to come in, like that
Right,
wave.
that was about that time. Before that, it was kind of little hit or miss.
Yeah.
A couple of productions here and there. But then, like you said, Martin Scorsese came in. Then everybody just kind of followed him.
Yeah.
It's like one after another after another. But yeah, okay. So you were an extra on that set, and so who did you work with on set that day or those days?
There's actually, if you watch the movie, I am behind Leonardo DiCaprio in one scene as a background. And then there was another moment where Matt Damon, he was standing in front of me, and
It was really cool to have him just interact, and like at the end when we wrapped, everyone was like, he could say, "Hey guys, just want to say thank you for coming out," and I was like, "Wow, like that's really cool." Like someone who's made it, and like just saying,
Still acknowledge
everyone that was there, you know.
And Matt's a big proponent of small film producers, independent film producers. He's the Project Greenlight that he did with Ben Affleck and everything else like that. So I mean, that might have inspired you a little too. I mean, Boston guy.
I just started going back and watching Project Greenlight the first 2-3 seasons, and like really fell in love with that whole just entertainment and arts in general, you know. So
excellent. So from that point, what else? What happened after that? You got the bug. What did you do next?
So in long story short, it was this. I bought a one-way ticket, 2007. I was like, this is it. I'm going to get out of here. Memorial Day. I wanted to remember the date, so I was like, oh, Memorial Day, let's just fly in. Flights were cheap because no one was flying. Took a one-way ticket and moved to LA. Did all the, once you get to LA, it's LA casting. So that's kind of like the central casting of Los Angeles. Got my headshots, did all that. And it was there that I just started to like just do background work, and I was like, man, did I move 3,000 miles away to just do background work? And it just sucked. Like you would show up, and we'll get they do all the big shows, so they'll do like 100 extras. Cattle call is what they call it. They just get a ton of extras.
Herd people in.
Yeah, herd them in,
Right.
do the scene, and you don't even get on TV. And I was like, all right, this was a dumb move. I was like, did I do the right thing? But I didn't tap out right away. I was like, you know what? I need to figure out how to get acting reel together, and doing all this background work that I couldn't find anything. It's just me in the background, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I bought a camera with a friend and went on YouTube back then in 2007, 2008, and just started learning how to shoot film and record sound and be on set. And I was like an intern and a PA, just kind of learning the ropes. And then I was like, wait a minute, this is way more funner than being in front of the camera. And then next thing you know, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start charging with my camera package and run around town and see what I can do with it. And soon I made a business card, and then I was just like, yeah, I could do your video, I could do your thing. And then it was like one job led to another, and then it was on to music videos, and it was just like just learning the whole industry in and out from there. Was pretty crazy.
What kind of gigs did you get in the beginning? Just curious.
Like spec promos, nightclub guys who had nightclubs. They had like a bikini party, so they're like, yo, can you just capture and do like a little commercial so we can blast it out? And then like independent artists, like music video. Actually, one of my first, she's actually from Boston originally. Her name is Marty G. I don't know if you know Marty G.
I know Marty Garcia.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
love Marty.
Yeah. So Marty was on tour with Black Eyed Peas at the time, and Black Eyed Peas at that time in 2008.
I worked with Marty in mid 2000s.
Yeah.
When she was on Making the Band.
Oh yeah.
That's right.
Ironically, I didn't know her from that. I used to work on Lansdowne Street as a bouncer at Avalon. And so she was a go-go dancer at the time.
Right.
So that's how we met. But I didn't know that she was on the show until like afterwards. And then when I went to LA, she bumped into me at Avalon Hollywood, because I just transferred to, how to get a job right away. And she's like, what are you doing here? And I was like, what are you doing here? And then the next thing you know it, she was like, I got a group. And she was like, and I was like, yo, I shoot music videos. And then next thing you know, we clicked, connected, shot her first video.
That's great.
And then she premiered her video in Beverly Hills, and invited Kat Graham, who was also a backup singer, I think at the time, with her on tour with Black Eyed Peas. And then I did her video, and she just got onto Vampire Diaries. So it was just kind of
that is so crazy that you just said that, because that is the new show I'm hooked on.
Well, isn't it interesting how one thing leads to another?
Yeah, it just kept on connecting.
Which
kept on
character
rolling.
is she in Vampire Diaries?
I don't know.
It's okay. No worries.
But you'll recognize her. She's also, she does music, but she's been on a few TV shows and movies. She was actually with Lindsay Lohan in The Parent Trap. like
Really?
the
The
film.
original one? Yeah.
No, that's a remake.
The second, yeah,
That's
the remake.
Yeah.
The original one is like
1960s.
Yeah.
1960s.
Yeah. So, but yeah, and then it's the same thing. From her, it led to another person. I think
Sometimes the path just like lights up all at one time when you meet one connection.
Yeah, and then it was just, and that's just how it was. It was like the hustle networking of just like, cool, you gravitate and you gotta keep finding, you gotta keep looking, and we'll see where one thing leads to another. And like,
I like that you were a bouncer at a club, right? And you still did your magic, which was produce music videos at the time or whatever videos they needed, and you didn't give up on that. That's like inspiring.
Well, I had to pay the bills. When I first started out, I needed a 9 to 5 that was not 9 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
It had to be like hours after dark. And not only after dark, like I in the daytime, I could spend all the time to produce and put projects together and meet people, network, and have coffee meetings or whatever it is. And then at nighttime, I'll clock in, do my work, but I knew that was like temporary. Once I found a way to just get out full time to do it for real, and then I had that happen, and I left. It was scary, because your main base of income was you knew you were going to get paid every 2 weeks, and you're like secured, rent secured, everything secured, and just to walk away from that was really scary. I
bet.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially, and that at that time, 2007, right?
Yeah.
Things were kind of MySpace was fading out. There was no Facebook at the time.
Nope.
It was there, but it wasn't popular.
Yeah.
So you didn't have too many options in terms of social media. YouTube was just in its infancy.
It was barely coming out, and then not only that, it's just speaking of that, it's just like for me to get around, GPS, you had to had like a GPS machine. Your phone didn't have GPS.
TomToms.
Right.
Yeah, TomToms, exactly.
That's exactly what it was.
And I just started. I didn't even have I had a flip phone at the time. So for me to get around to like auditions or go to different places, I literally had to write down.
It's funny that that's considered old school now.
Yeah, and I wrote it down.
MapQuest.
Yeah, and then
MapQuest, right, yeah.
took all the directions. And I'm not from LA. Like I just got here, so me to get around, I literally had to write down everything, drive, and then like get to my destination.
Because we're based in Boston, a lot of people in this area have no idea how big LA is in terms of land area.
Oh yeah.
Yes, we can go from one side of Boston to the other in usually less than an hour, depending on traffic.
Mm-hmm.
But LA, no, an hour you can get a couple blocks based on the traffic there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very intimidating when you get out there, and if you're trying to be in this business, again, the first casting call you probably go to would blow your mind. How many people show up for one casting?
Oh, yeah.
It's like you said, it's a cattle call.
Yeah.
It's a very big business over there, and a lot of the industry, people go in there thinking, "Oh, I'm here, I'm going to be great," but they don't realize how long it's going to actually take them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it takes a long time, even if you've been established somewhere else. And you started from the bottom, Kevin.
All the way from the bottom, for sure.
All the way from the bottom, and you worked your way up. And again, you had, not only did you start from the bottom, but you kept hustling, like you said.
Yeah.
If you can't go there and start at the bottom and hustle, then you're not meant for that business.
Yeah.
Okay? You might get lucky. Yeah, some people get lucky, but the majority of people have to work hard and just stick with it.
No, it's a grind.
It's a grind.
It's a definitely grind for sure.
Okay, when you're in your early years,
company.
in your early years, besides Marty, what other things stand out in the early years?
Like I said, working with,
did you have a preference of what you liked to shoot back then?
I was just trying to shoot anything.
Anything.
Me and my buddy, who was another Bostonian, his name's Connor.
Connor, that's what I was thinking about. He went to school at Mass Art.
Yeah.
That's
Connor
who
Daly.
went to
Yeah.
Connor Daly, another great, successful young man from Boston.
Yeah. So he was my roommate when he moved to Boston, LA. So that's the bridge right there.
Yes.
And we started doing sitcom, and at that time the DSLRs just came out, the 5D just came out, and
great camera.
We had access to it. We had a 7D, so we were like, okay, let's just start shooting sitcom. We met some friends who were writers, and we just started. Like, I didn't go to school for producing or any of that. You just had to go figure it out. Oh, look there's a casting thing. Put down your character. Send it out.
So when did you switch from producing to acting to producing?
The moment I knew that this was it, like I felt. I mean, before I had no tattoos, and the moment that I knew that I was gonna jump behind the camera, I immediately got a tattoo because I always wanted one. But I was like, as an actor, you gotta be just clean body, so that if they want to add stuff onto you, you can do all that.
Yeah.
And it was just like,
digitally.
Yeah, digitally. But now it was just. I think it was like a year after like just hustling, going through, and I was like, I could make this an actual business. Probably like within a year of like just.
It probably adds to your
out.
character as a director too to have the tattoos and everything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's like, oh, this guy's cool.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mike.
How important is it to be pliable when it comes to not only because like you go out there and you're trying to, I guess, invent yourself.
Yeah.
But are you inventing yourself, or are you becoming pliable to make sure that you are doing what you want to do? How does that work?
I think that's a combination of your goals. Like for me, I think being an Asian American was hard back then. You know, like there weren't roles for us, and if there were roles, they were stereotypical roles. So I would take acting classes and couldn't reapply them because they were like, "Oh, do it with the accent, do it," you know. And I was like, I moved 3,000 miles away to do background work and stereotypical roles. Like,
no,
this is, and you know, when I was at the Black Box Theater, over off of Tremont, we were doing like improv. We were doing classes. We were remembering lines. We were like, you know, like you're acting. You're in, and that's what I fell in love with. But then I guess I fell in love even more when because I felt like directing and producing, you get to create, like,
right.
And nothing against actors, you know, but I felt like you're told you as an actor you're given a scene and whatnot. You think what the scene is, you kind of like study it, and you're like, okay, this is what it is. Then when you get to the casting room or you get on set, the director's like, no, this is actually how we want you to do it. And then a script, you might be like, oh, well, your lines are wrong, say that again. And then the DP's like, well, you're standing in the wrong area, you might want to, you know, adjust yourself. So it's like you're just constantly, and obviously once you're a master and you're an established star actor, you kind of know all that. But I just felt like, wow, I'm just getting pulled in like different ways. And like with at least with directing and producing, it's like it came from here. And then now it's on the screen, you know, you're holding your director monitor.
Don't you love that creative process?
And then you're like, this is magical. Like you saw it from here and it's translated to.
I had that experience.
Yeah. And
just for people to know, DP means director of photography.
Yeah.
So you've used terminology some people don't know.
Now let me ask you this: how was the transition of being the actor and then all of a sudden casting, like?
It was scary.
It was. Yeah.
It was just like, holy shit! Can I swear?
No.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
My bad. I was like, oh my god, like. This is what it is like to be behind the other table,
right?
And behind, you know, the other side of the table, and it was shocking. And then there would be moments where guys would walk in and you're like, not the guy, like you know right off the bat. You knew right off the bat, like not the.
Just because you were looking for a specific person to play a specific role, and if they don't look like it, it is what it is.
And then you get to see other people who come in who you didn't think was for the role, and then all of a sudden. They brought something new to the scene, and you're like, wait a minute.
You're like, wait, do I want to change it up a little bit?
Wow. So that was a really cool thing that I learned, because then it was like, if your abilities are strong enough and you take the character to another level too, and I said with other producers and other casting people, and they're like, wow, like I didn't see that, but maybe the character should be Latina now.
Right.
Or because and at first I thought it was an insult, because I was like, hey. Why are you wasting everyone's time? Like the role specifically said Caucasian or African American, but then another people just audition and apply, and are like, all right, let's just bring them in. And when they brought something new to the table, it was like fresh eyes, and they're like, okay, wait, this could be something, you know. So.
Wow, it's so funny because I'm not huge on Netflix. Like I wasn't a huge like TV show person, but now I have more free time, and I am. So Vampire Diaries is one of my shows that I was watching, and I thought to myself, that series went on for 8 years. Imagine being a director producer of a show, and you just did season 1, and then all of a sudden it takes off, and now you're on season 8. And I was always wondering, like, how difficult is it to find a role that may be a potential, you know, reality star, I guess, or not reality star, but movie star.
I honestly, I mean, I think it's you know, what the people, I mean, like that's always the gamble, because you'll also see successful show get canceled.
Right.
So you're like, whoa, wait a minute. I thought everyone really liked this show, but now it's being canceled, third season. And then, like, you know, you always see those reports on Variety where they show you a list of TV shows that are, yep, got canned. And it's just like, what I know, what's important behind the scene at least is like people's lives and careers, because they sign up, they're hoping to go to 1, 2, 3, and you know, if they're lucky, like I said, 8 seasons in, where they can just come in and work every day. Because once that show's done,
they don't have a job.
That's it.
They don't have a job.
Yeah, they have to go back to ground zero. Many of them.
Everything.
Many of them have to go back to zero.
So it's like it's like, so you know, the successful shows, they've been those are very, you know, they're like hitting home runs. You know, you can't.
What people don't probably realize that each show has its own individual contracts. There's no standard contract. So if you get residuals and other points on the contract, you're good. If it's a successful show, you're good for a long time.
Yep.
Like Seinfeld, people,
Friends,
all those guys, they make a lot of money each and every year on residuals.
Yep.
Okay, and that's how to make it really big in this industry. If you have one big hit show, you know, you can last for a long, long time. That's your retirement right there. But like he was pointing out, things get canceled so quickly now. These network executives will pull the plug in a heartbeat. You could have like a pilot that was like, let's say they bought 6 or maybe 13 episodes, and they'll pull it in one day if the numbers don't look right to them.
Wow.
You know, that's how volatile it is.
How does a director and a producer keep up with all that?
It's the ratings. You know, and obviously it's you know, advertisement, putting money towards something, and then when they realize like, hey, this show's not picking up any steam on their. Because, you know, that's what pays, you know, obviously streaming networks are a little bit different because you pay a subscription, but like the guys on TV, is all commercial based, you know, and like if they're not pulling numbers, like, you know, you had the Nelson reports every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, every night, you know, you're in the top 10.
The daily numbers. Yeah. A lot of people don't realize too that even the streaming channels are a lot like the networks now.
Yeah.
I mean, you said that they're getting subscriptions, right? That's their revenue. But if they think a show is not pulling in the numbers, the viewers, they'll can it.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of people are like, why'd you do that? Well, they look at the numbers. It's all a game. It's still a business, people.
That's what people forget.
Yeah,
like, you know,
it's a business.
You can be naive and I love the arts and I love acting and this is why I went to Broadway and study. Like, you get that's great because we still need the talent, but you know, having something successful and last long. You know, like I said, you could be on the hot seat every season, and you can have great write-ups and great reviews and great things. But if the network is like, yo, like, we got another fresh show ready to go, and they just signed this star, it's a machine, you know. And people forget it's a business.
So now you're a family man now.
Yeah.
So how has that affected what you do every single day?
I actually, you know, been fortunate with my wife that, you know, she understands the business. And she gets that, you know, there's long hours and sometimes I got to travel, and you know.
So you met a ride or die.
Yeah, ride or die and support the family. As long as I'm supporting the family and, you know, keeping the lights on and making sure everyone's good, I don't think they're complain. And, you know, and then like I had ex-girlfriends in the past where they were super needy, and that's when you kind of know like, oh, this is not
going to work out.
It's not going to work out right off the bat.
Yeah, because it is a very demanding job, especially of your time.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and if you got kids and a wife, and it's rough on them too. Yes, obviously, and I know there are probably times you want to be at home rather than at work, but this is what you do to make a living.
Yeah.
So, speaking of making that living, tell us some of the people you've worked with recently. I think people are going to get a kick out of this list.
I mean, it's funny because I just put a post on the other day. We worked with like half of hip hop from the top of the year, anywhere from Chris Brown, G-Eazy, Future, Sway Lee, Roddy Ricch, The Baby, Young Thug, White. Like, it's just a ton of just talent throughout. Like, and
it's a who's who in hip hop and R&B, right?
Yeah, and you know, I've been fortunate because because of COVID was a blessing because they had a ton of music waiting, and they had no visuals for them. And now that everything's opening up again, the labels are just going like, shoot the videos, just shoot the videos,
get it done.
Yeah, get it done. I'm already
feast or famine, right?
3 contracts already. I have 3 contracts ready to go right now in Miami and Atlanta. So like that's probably where I'm going to be heading next.
Really cool.
After this, after Father's Day.
If you ever need somebody, you just let me know. Okay, I'll jump right in there for you.
Now, do you come up with the treatments? Do you have a staff to do that for you? What do you do?
Directors usually, the process is the label will reach out to production companies who represent directors, and directors all get a shot, and they get the song exclusively right off the bat, and you got to turn in something that the artist like, management likes, the label likes. It's a lot of, feedback once you're there, and then also being the first one to get it in, because you might be the last one. Well, they're marinating on the first one that they saw, and sometimes that's you gotta beat it by the speed too.
So you're basically saying they open up the song to several different directors.
Yep.
You all submit your treatments for what you want to, what's in your brain or what's in your mind.
Yep.
And then they say, okay, I like this one the best, and that's what they will. Has anyone ever actually said, okay, I want Kevin? No matter what, I just want Kevin.
I think so. Mainly on music video world, I'm more of a producer. And then we do have directors who they're like, it's a single bid. You don't have to bid with other people.
Right.
And sometimes you've been fortunate where the artist trusts you completely. Then there's been occasions where we have had that, and then there's occasions where it's like it's a free market. It's like, hey, everyone's writing on it, and then it's like it's kind of funny because it's like, oh yeah, we passed on that, or that was the one where we were like we thought we were gonna get it. So at the end, once videos are released, you'll start seeing like who got it, who didn't have it, or like
and kind of compare it to your own situation. One more question here. From bid to broadcast, what's the time span normally? Average time span?
Bid to process.
From bid to broadcast. In other words, the whole process. Give or take. Average.
We had fast turnaround where we got greenlit 48 hours before we shot it, and then they want to release it the Monday. And then there's one that could take a month long, creative.
That's still not too long.
Yeah, compared to television and movies.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
So actually, music videos, and I've done a lot of music videos for casting or whatever over the years, and most of the time it took us maybe 2 to 3 months, from conception to reality.
Yeah, and then there's release dates that you got to hit. Obviously,
right, exactly.
Depending
on what the label wants to release. Yeah, exactly. Go ahead, Mike.
So as the director versus as the producer, when you get ready to doctor your stuff and send it in for that submission to get the labels to look at it and all that stuff, do you have somebody stand in? Like, do you play the backtrack and show the sceneries? What's that process? So you said you were getting things together to have the labels look at, right? So how does that work?
So they look at the creative, and then they also look at the budget. So sometimes they're like, your budget's $100,000. Figure it out.
Right.
And then sometimes you have directors who will overwrite, where they will write epic creatives, and you're like, yo, we can't afford it. Like, for VFX, it's going to cost. You want stunts, that's going to cost this. You want dancers are expensive because you're not only paying them for the shoot day, you're paying agency fees, you're paying rehearsal dates, and if it might be 2 or 3 rehearsal dates, then you got to get wardrobe. Wow. I mean, it adds up, and people think like, yeah, like everyone can say like, oh yeah, I'll throw a party video and like I'll invite all my friends or whatever. But if you're gonna do it legitimately with payroll and like have real business, it's expensive.
Yeah,
you gotta feed everybody.
I didn't even think about that.
Oh, there's a lot of
I did a short film. It was like, I don't know, maybe a couple minutes, and I directed it, and I loved the process of thinking about something and then visualizing it and seeing it in real life. Yeah. But everyone volunteered, so and we did it at a restaurant, so everything at the restaurant volunteered. But that's like rare, what I mean?
And you hope that, especially when things are people volunteering, some people might not even show up.
Right.
And that's the worst thing, where you're like.
So that's why paying them, it's definite.
No, it's guaranteed. You got a casting director who's like on them, saying, "Hey, you got to be there at that time," or it's just that whole process. People think it's easy to just I'll invite like 20 of my friends and we'll just be at no. It's and then it becomes a liability. you gotta feed them, and then if it's a location that won't let people park on the street, you have to shuttle people. Well, you gotta shuttle people. It becomes a whole thing.
So I was a PA for NESA and ESPN, like all those like Comcast Sports. So I understand like the whole shuttling and all the behind the scenes stuff. It's crazy. Nobody even thinks about this stuff. They see the final product and they think that's it, but the work that goes into it is incredible.
Hours of man, women power. Like it's just a lot of work, and like when I first started, you're like, I can do anything, I can take over the world, but then when it becomes legit, and like there's payroll and there's insurance and there's this and that, it's not you got to make the number fit, so you got to make it all fit.
It's not all just glamour, folks. That's the whole point. It's hard work. 100%. So if you want to get in this business, be ready to work hard.
Yeah, grind.
I mean, if you don't take anything from this, just take that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to show a couple other things. We got a website for you. Let's see if I can find the website here. This is your. Whoops, that's not it. I got to find it. That went to station ID. What's that? We'll go back here. Okay, I'll find it in a second. But I want people to visit your website. Here it is, right here.
Be happy.
Look at that
love
quote.
that.
Mike, read that quote. Can you read that quote?
Yeah. It says, nobody in life gets exactly what they thought
they were
going to get. But if you work really hard and you're kind, amazing things will happen.
This is a quote from Conan O'Brien. What?
Another New England. That was his last show before he got taken off the air during that Leno and transition when they gave him the boot. And that was the last remarks that he made.
Was that from the TNT?
No. It was from NBC.
NBC.
When
Okay.
they pulled
when they pulled him from the Tonight Show and gave it back to Jay Leno.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's an interesting quote. I like that. Okay, so let's see what's on your website here. So you've got music videos, films, TV commercials. Funny. What's funny out of curiosity?
That's all the sitcom stuff that I did with Connor.
And you get some photos
friends.
here too.
Yeah.
All right, so people need to visit this. Actually, we'll just take a quick look on the music videos here, see what pops up. Okay, there we go. So you guys can take a look at this. It's kevinboston.com. You definitely want to check it out. Let's see what films here, feature films that you've done. Now, okay, how many feature films have you done?
Four indie films.
4 indie films, okay.
Yeah.
And let's see what kind of commercials you got here. All right, nice. Netflix, a few others, huh?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so people need to check that out. So kevinboston.com, make that a point. Bookmark it right now so you can go take a look at it. The reason why I'm pointing out the videos, we can't play your videos because they're copyrighted. Yeah. And Facebook will turn us off.
Got it. Yep.
Most of the artists that come on here is like, why can't you play our videos? Because Facebook will cut us off.
I think one of my friends tried to do the same thing, except the content was not good for kids.
I just pulled him up.
That's okay.
Let's just say that.
Just pulled him up, everybody.
Kevin Boston.
He's on the phones, so you can save yourself the trip to your bedroom computer.
There you go. So you've been there 14 years. What is your favorite thing to shoot? We talk music videos, commercials, feature films. What inspires you the most?
I think all of them are challenges. All of them are different animals or different beasts in the game. Like a feature film is 30 to 60 days of like shooting, and it's almost like a job. You clock in every day. You work the hours, and you see the same crew every single day. It's a marathon. Music video is like the boot camp. You're in, you're out. You do a 14-hour day, 2 or 3 shoot days, 5 days if you're doing something like crazy and epic with dancers and multiple locations, and then you're done. And then it's released to the world immediately.
Wow.
Within a week or two from delivering to the label. And obviously with a film, it's months of work and pickups, and depending on how much money you have, it could drag on for a bit.
What about TV commercials? Do you have to work with a lot of ad agencies directly with TV commercials? How does that work?
Oh, for sure. You got to get in first with the ad agencies. I mean, to get those guys are locked in. And then to be a approved vendor to even be able to play and create, their brands they trust, like a Toyota or Wendy's or McDonald's or Dunkin' or whatever it is. they pay top dollar to ad agencies who understand the science of like how to attract people to their brand and their food or their clothing or whatever it is that they're selling, and that but there's almost an abundance of money, like
right. Aren't those the most creative too? I mean, the most constrictive.
Oh yeah,
because they have so many. You can't do this. You can't do that.
Restrictions.
Very
certain
restrictive.
colors that you can't have.
Brand colors.
Yeah, brand colors. If you're for example, and I could say this. I worked with Pepsi, and they have red, white, and blue, but the red cannot be a Coca-Cola red.
Right.
And so when talent comes on set and they have a wardrobe, it has to be looked at, has to be approved by the agencies, which is approved by the brand. I mean, there's a lot of levels to that. And like music videos, immediate. You're able to talk to people right away. Management's there on set, and people will let things slide. And a lot of brands would let you, like name brands and stuff. They will let you.
Yeah, any name brands still have to be approved.
Yeah, it still has to be approved.
Yep.
Just because you bought it doesn't mean you can just put it in a video. Even though your stylist spent a ton of money on it, it just has to. And it's the image. Just like goes back to the Coca-Cola and Pepsi thing. Is that artist true to the brand's identity and tone and tonality? It becomes a whole entire thing.
Okay. I hope people are paying attention right now because this is the industry 101 right now.
Yeah.
Okay, this is what you have to deal with day in and day out. All the time. You're talking about the insurance, all that other stuff. It's all part of the game.
I think that's mad. Like, it's just so interesting because not a lot of people talk about that side of things. They talk about the glamour. They talk about being Leonardo DiCaprio. They talk about the fame and the fortune. Yeah. But they don't ever talk about the grind that takes to become that person.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, there's a ton of paperwork.
And it's so funny too because being an on-air talent, like right now, you're our on-air talent, but you're usually behind the scenes. Yeah. And I think someone who's behind the scenes has way more respect for other people behind the scenes, and it's not really all about the on-air talent. We make them the on-air talent, but what we have to do to make you that is way more work than you could ever imagine.
Oh yeah, no, for sure.
That's wild.
All right, let's take a look at some slides here. Okay, I want you to explain these to us and see what's going on here. I love this shot.
Oh, is that you?
From? Yeah.
Oh, that's dope.
What's going on here, Kevin?
Just a behind the scenes photo of they're shooting in the front. I'm just in the back. Sterling actually took this picture, and I was like, it's really cool imagery because
Did you know he was taking this?
Afterwards, he definitely came up afterwards. He was like, hey, take a look at this. But it was really neat to see that. You'll always see me on the phone on set because working on the next project, securing this, making sure everything is handled on set, and just making sure everyone's happy, and like calls.
That one kind of captures the glamour side of the industry in a sense, because you look at that. Of course, I like the black and white too, but that looks like a glamorous photo of being on set. Okay, that's a still moment in time of what it's like to be on a set, but it's a lot more going on than that. But it is a glamour kind of shot for that industry. All right, let's see what we got here. This looks like an interesting, obviously taken during COVID.
During COVID. So this is a lot of, so the Grammys or any of those big shows, a lot of the live performance were done in a safe environment. You couldn't, we had to be in studio. Everyone had to get COVID tested. And that was a Jack Harlow for the Europe Music Award. It's like the MTV Europe Music Award. So they want to do. We did What's Poppin' live with dancers and whatnot.
Is this your family? Would you say? Is this your main crew?
So I'm head of production over at Riveting, and those are my guys. Those are like, and that's the thing. You want to work with people that already know your next move, it's synchronized, and like everyone knows what to do, what their job title is, and it's always great to explore. But once you connect with people, like you'll just know, I have a great solid team for that, and like we're just in sync, and I learned that from honestly from another famous director when I was working in the nightclub. He was like, what's the biggest advice you can give me in this industry? And he just said, simply find your team and just ride with them. Don't spend time trying to find another team, try to find something else. When you cohesively and mentally understand each other, stick with them because that's your path and that's your family.
Sure,
and
because it's hard to bring somebody else into the show.
Scorsese, even in Departed, like all his inner circle working, they all know each other. His cinematographer, his editor, his producer. You want, and then I think that's just the power of success too. Like you got to find that core group of guys.
Tom Brady would have been nothing without the Patriots.
Right,
exactly.
And that's,
Bill Belichick.
I think that's why they say it's so difficult to then get in, because when someone finds their crew and then you want to like be the new guy on the block, it's hard to squeeze in there because they have already built their foundation.
And it's not to say not to bring people in. I mean, obviously, once you've found your peers, but there's always a door if you're talented enough, you grind hard enough, and we recognize. Real recognizes real. Exactly. And then they go like, oh wait, I like what you did on that project, or let's try. And that's the thing, we're always open to trying out, collaborating with other directors, other creatives, because it just creates value for everyone. It's a win-win situation.
It's like doing magic. You want to be able to bring the magicians together who bring that new thing to the table, or for example, one guy might be great with the camera, one guy might be great with sleight of hand. And to bring those two things together, now you've got that next project.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So it's just the way you're talking about it really does sound like magic. It's really cool.
It's funny that you mentioned the Patriots and Bill. I just took those same stepping stones, especially when Brady was here, was just like, work with your team. Everyone knows their role. Do your job, and just focus strictly on that. And you don't have to worry. And then when I first started, I wanted to do everything. I was like, I got this. But you actually look lost than like you know
That's
what you're doing.
when I was when I was PA for the Red Sox, when I figured out that it took 15 people independently to do a broadcast game that's live, I was mind blown. There's a director and there's a producer and there's a graphic artist and there's a graphic design, and you do not cross paths. Even if you can do that, you do not. You choose one thing and you stick to it, and I thought that was amazing. Was
Stay
it
in your
difficult?
lane, right?
Yep. But was it difficult for you to be a director and a producer and then have to choose which one?
Well, in the beginning, I had to do everything because I didn't have a budget or didn't have a team yet. And then as I gradually moved on with my career, I found people who were better than me. Like I used to have to shoot everything myself. I was my own DP. I was my own whatever. And then along the lines, I found a DP that was phenomenal. So then I was like, you DP all my stuff. And then eventually, I found a few more other DPs, and they all have their own style, technique. And then same thing with every department. You find a great gaffer who can light a room with nothing, or you know a guy who can be technical and just have all these crazy lights going at once. And then same thing with art direction. People can build crazy sets and like realistic little details, and some people can just do crazy abstract things. So I think it's this curating those for the right project too.
You can add stylists to that and a whole bunch of different jobs.
If you want to do some abstract, like high fashion couture stuff, you've got to find that specialized stylist for that.
Exactly. Let's take a quick look at a couple more slides because we only got a few more minutes. I love this shot.
Oh, this is one of my favorites.
This is amazing.
Look at you. You look like you're loving life right now.
Yeah. No, this one's fun. This is actually shot at UCLA basketball court. Which was really cool. The director right there is Rod, and he actually was a graduate. So for him, it was really special to come back on the UCLA basketball court and shoot a Tiger video on the court, And we just took a moment to take a really cool picture.
That is a very cool picture.
Was it like 1, 2, 3 pose?
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that was definitely staged.
Okay.
It was already lit.
Yeah.
Might as well take advantage of it. But let's take a look at this one now. This looks like you're just out having some fun.
Yep.
Where are you in this one? Jean leather jacket in the back?
No.
You're right in the front. Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You're the gray suit guy.
Yeah. So that's Byron. He's over at Capitol Record. He just did some great stuff with Paul McCartney. Darren Dooley. I don't know if he used to be on Lansdowne Street as well. Sound engineer down that way. Jason Yee's another actor. Ethan Later is a graduate of Emerson College. He's another successful director. And this is and then Nicole and a horse on the side there, and then Connor's right there. He's actually in the B cap. He's covering his face. So I try to keep all my Bostonians together.
I love that. I love that. Even in
a lot
LA.
of Bostonians in there.
Yeah,
I saw a lot of road cases. Where was that? Like, what were you doing for that?
I actually proposed to my wife that night.
Oh, let's take a look again.
Yeah,
let's take a look.
It was her birthday.
Which one's your wife? The blonde?
Well, obviously, yeah. I was going to say it better be the one next to her.
I know. Oh, she's beautiful, huh?
She is, absolutely.
And so that night, I proposed to her. But it was her birthday, so we just like got a table, and this was like really cool. It's called a Break Room 86. So the whole place is like a speakeasy. You got to go through a soda machine to get into.
Oh, I love that.
And it's an 80s
that.
bar. Live music, 80s like rock bands, and like they do covers. And
well, that'll be easy for you not to forget that then, right?
Yeah,
if she says, "Do you remember when you proposed to me?" You won't ever forget that.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Wow, Kevin, looks like you've had a great life in L.A. Do you miss Boston at all? I mean, I'm sure you miss some of it, but
my last post on Instagram, I actually was reminiscing because like the city's changed so much in 14 years.
The seaport especially.
Seaport, like Southeast, like it doesn't even look like Southie anymore. Chinatown, where I did theater, did shopping with my mom in Chinatown. There's skyscrapers everywhere. You can't even park in Chinatown anymore. And then like even Quincy, my cousin the other day, I was driving up at condos, and I'm like, where?
And tall buildings are starting to pop up here too.
And it's starting to get dark. Like Boston used to have a lot of sunlight because there wasn't a lot of skyscrapers, but now you go through Chinatown or downtown. There's just so many high buildings that it's just darker now. It's pretty trippy.
It is a little weird, isn't it? When you haven't been here for a while.
And the traffic's just like LA now.
Yeah, it is pretty much. That's pretty much something we can't avoid anymore.
Yeah.
We had about maybe 7 or 8 months of light traffic from the pandemic. That's about the only positive thing from the pandemic. Light traffic. That was good for a little while. Yeah. So you're back to LA. You got some projects ready. Oh, and actually, you said, what was your next stop again? I said you said Atlanta.
Atlanta and Miami.
Yeah, Atlanta and Miami.
Yeah.
All good places to shoot. Good movie towns.
Oh yeah.
Or good industry towns.
Atlanta. Like I said, you need
Atlanta,
me. You just call me.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Brittany is ready to fly.
I'm literally ready to run. So here we go.
Well, thank you very much for coming down tonight. I know it's a little bit of a trip down for you, not to mention from LA, but I've always wanted to have a nice little chat with you in person. And like I said, I knew you would be good for this show because a lot of people that are starting in the industry watch this. Okay. And I need them to understand that when you're starting out, you got to think realistically.
Oh no,
you have to.
100%.
You have
it's
to
not
think
glitz and
realistically.
glam like everyone thinks. You just get in and you're lucky. You grind. I mean, I know actors who grind for years and they finally get their break, but it happens. Persistence.
You got to put the work in.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have perseverance.
Yep.
Okay, and you have to have a plan. You can't just say, "Here I am."
No.
It doesn't work that way.
That quote really does speak volumes too.
We love that. Yeah, that shirt. I love that shirt. That's just so LA right there.
Yeah, it was my signature now.
It's your signature?
I'm the guy with the Hawaiian shirt, a cap.
Yeah, you're still representing Boston, so that's all.
Boston. Yeah, and I mean,
I like that necklace.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Well, stay true to yourself, Kevin. That's all you got to do.
That's some hippie
the
stones.
hipster stuff. Yeah, I like it.
All the stones and the LA stuff.
Yeah, that's great. Well, thanks again for coming down. I thank your wife for letting you out for tonight. Yeah. And for the people in LA, it's now what 8:30, so you're still up.
Super early.
Super early, right? That was like 10:30 is nothing to this guy. I mean, he's on LA time. He's fine. Yeah. For the next week coming up, folks, I just want you to stay tuned. We've got a special event going on at Marina Bay. We have a big fashion show. We were at this fashion show last fall. It was the only fashion show last year. So we're going to start the season off this year on Marina Bay, doing a nice fashion show with Denise Ajar. We'll be down there covering it. Performer will be there. And on June 27th, Sunday, June 27th, everyone should be coming to Swim Boston on the rooftop of Alba. We're going to kick off summer with summer fashions. I get some special guests and a few other things going on too. So summer fashions, Brittany will be there, Mike will be there, the whole Performer crew will be there, some lovely young ladies, some fashionable young gentlemen will be there. So you want to check this out. Yes. So some great designers too, folks. So you want to check that out. So until I'll be back here tomorrow night for Night Moves, and this week on Martha's Vineyard, and next week I think we'll be back for another Performer show. So stay tuned, folks, and have a great week. We will see you later.